I do want to go over some of the basics. We are learning some new information after the man was taken into custody, accused of kidnapping a woman in Seattle, driving her to Oregon, and trapping her in a Cinderblock cell. Investigators say the victim was able to escape from that cell, scale a fence, and get to a nearby road where she flagged down a driver. That suspect seen right there on your screen, identified by the FBI as 29-year-old Negasi Zuberi, but one of that suspect's former roommates knew him by a different name. That roommate, James Dunn, joining us now live to talk more about all of this. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So first off, just kind of tell me about this guy, what he was like as a roommate, and who he was, really.
I didn't necessarily know much about him. His life was, fairly secretive from the time, 8 months that I lived in Vancouver with him. I met him originally through Facebook Marketplace. I had taken a promotion that was down in Portland, so I needed a place to stay. And, nothing really raised any red flags, at first, other than he just wanted someone that was going to pay the rent and kind of keep to themselves. And that, sounded fair. And I've dealt with, similar situations, but nothing like this where, it's ended up being, such, I'm shocked. This is something that I wouldn't even be able to imagine someone be able to do.
And that's what I was going to ask is, how did you find out what had happened, these allegations? And when you hear that about a guy that you lived with, what are you thinking?
So my former roommate had reached out to me, and he kind of let me know, hey, this is going on. Have you heard about it? I was in shock. I couldn't necessarily even, fathom, thinking about this kind of thing, and that it would just, this is something that happens. It's something that you see out of a horror movie.
Have police been in contact with you at all about this so far? I know that they are looking for other possible victims, so they're speaking to people kind of all across the country. Have you been in touch with police?
No, I haven't.
Have you thought about reaching out to them, or are you hoping that they're possibly going to see something like this and reach out to you?
If they feel that they need to reach out to me, I'm happy to provide any information.
What was he like as a roommate? Because you said you didn't really know him too well. Anything at all that kind of stands out to you when you think back and you realize this is the guy that you were living with? Is there anything that kind of sticks out to you?
He was constantly gone within night hours. I wasn't necessarily sure what he did for, a full-time job. We were all paying the rent on this place. And from my understanding, he had painted the picture that he was a property manager. He had multiple properties throughout the country, and that's essentially how, in his words, he achieved financial freedom. And I was like, that's cool. That seems like a lot of work, and I'm happy doing what I do. So I kind of just took it as that, and I was like, all right, you're gone at night, you do your own thing. But never would I have imagined that this was the kind of person he was.
Does it make you almost think twice about using, let's say, Facebook Marketplace or something of that nature to find a roommate? Does it make you, I guess, kind of second guess that at all?
Absolutely. You've heard about the Craigslist killer, and that's, a very common, reason not to, go online. But I feel like this should just serve as, you should definitely do more research into who you're moving in with, and, take precautions to know, like, where you're going. Because, like I said, from what I was able to find out about him, he seemed like a normal guy. There was no, immediate red flags, other than he wanted to keep to himself. He was always gone and just doing his own thing.
Gotcha. Well, James Dunn, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here. As you think back to what the last few days have been like for you since you found out, I mean, what goes through your mind as you think back on this here?
It's a whirlwind of emotions. I'm sick to my stomach, just knowing the guy, when you think someone's just a normal person, and then to have this thrown, your way, seeing the pictures, this isn't something that, I would ever think that I'd ever be seeing. And, I'm terribly sorry for the victim, and I hope that, justice is served in this.
All right, James, thank you again for taking the time to be here. Is there anything else that you want to add before I let you go?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.